So there's an unfolding situation in the free and open source Silicon world right now, and that happens to be a basket in which I have put a whole lot of eggs. Right this minute, other people's lack of runway is dominoing into a lack of runway for myself, and I just don't know what's going to happen. And this led me to retell a tale that might be of interest and maybe lightly entertaining to you. So this one summer, long ago, I was still in uni or college actually, and what's going on is that the summer is 2/3 of the way done. I'm alone in the city. My girlfriend at the time is off somewhere in full immersion learning a language, and I'm alone with nowhere to turn and literally going hungry. Now, it had so far been impossible for me for like months now to actually get a job. I was on student loans at the time, and that dries up in the summer. They expect you to work and then deduct the next loan when you did work. It's really great. Anyways, I was going to the employment center, scouring the newspapers. I told you it was long ago, like pre-internet, and just getting no love at all. It was pretty terrible. I was doing 3 things with my days: looking for work, making chainmail for some reason, and starving. To the point that the neighbors once saw me out back working on that chainmail, waiting for a callback, and so this couple would see me every day, and one of the guys was some theater guy with the voice of Kermit the Frog, and he came up to me and asked, like, would you like some food? I accepted, I'll tell you, gladly. The point is, cash ran out pretty fast, rent wasn't being paid, and I was getting something desperate. At the start of August, I finally found some way to get some dough. I got a job with the Super Crown Videotron something. That's a local cable and telecom company around here. It was a Videotron traveling circus kind of deal that was setting up in various cities and doing movie-related shows with stuntmen and special effects and rides and whatever like that. So I get this grueling job, basically, stock boy or something. I'm going to refill fridges and move around the site and carry heavy shit back and forth all day. And that's fine. I've had tons of awful jobs, and this isn't the worst by far, and I just want to exchange effort for pay. So here I am, taking as much overtime as I can, putting in all the hours I can, because I'm trying to catch up a summer's worth of empty wallet, running up rent debt, and wasting away from hunger. I spent a few weeks doing this, and the way it worked is that you basically, there's a 2-week delay in getting paid, and you have to work 2 weeks before that even starts counting, and blah, blah, blah. So I'm working and raking in the cash in my mind, and I know exactly how much I've made at like every moment, but not touching a single damn penny yet. However, as payday gets nearer and nearer, I start to hear some grumbling. What's this? People who have been with the show for a while, traveling from city to city, well, they're getting moody. They're owed some back pay. When are we getting those checks? Well, that's not great. This is not a good sign. As the summer ends, it's all going to wind down, and the city I'm in is the last of the tour. So, have you guessed yet? Yeah. It turns out, surprise, surprise, at the very end, they shut down the site and declare bankruptcy. Oh, we're so sorry, but you won't be paid. But there's a process. There's going to be a meeting. You can fill a form and shit, and you'll get paid if there's anything left after we cover the chair rentals and, other more important creditors that don't break their back or sweat making money. You might get paid, at least part of it anyways, at some point. Come to the meeting, blah, 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 blah. I am livid. I am more than unhappy. They knew they were running out of cash. They knew they were in trouble. They hired me anyways. They let me work off my ass anyways. So what's a young man to do? We're shut down, and you can go home and wait for word from us, and we'll be in touch, and this and that. There was in fact some sort of meeting discussing how many pennies on the dollar you might get and in how many months and all that kind of thing. I was uninterested. So what's a boy to do? I started thinking and doing a little research. Like I said, this was before I'd touched the internet, but I was pretty handy with the things like land registries or other sources of data. But in the day, the first thing I turned to was this big log made of paper that they called the phone book. Now, that was my first stop. And from there, I'd figure it out. Now, I'm young and full of tea and badly wanted the main guy, the head honcho, because in my mind, he's the most responsible and likely wealthiest, and I aim to somehow, anyhow, get what was owed me. Because, I worked for it. I didn't want just a percentage of my work or to get it in a few months. I don't want to hear about your meetings or your delays or your pennies on the dollar. I want my money. But what I have is very little to go on. I know who I worked for, like my immediate supervisor, have a vague clue about the guy above that, and that's it, nothing else. So I figure I'll just walk my way up the chain until something gives. So after some sleuthing, one beautiful Sunday afternoon, here I am ringing a doorbell. It's my supervisor's private home. Opened up, and the look of surprise, I still remember. Look, I know it's not your fault. Yeah, we couldn't predict it. We didn't know. I'm so sorry. I go, it's okay. It's okay. Don't worry about it. The thing is, I want my money. And I know it's not your fault. You didn't have me work my ass off like this knowing I would never be paid, right? So what I want isn't you. Do you know the main guy? Oh man, blah, blah, blah. It's some company, something, something. I really don't know. Yeah. Okay. I get it. That's okay. But you know, what's his name there? Your boss, right? What can you tell me about him? Well, yeah, but like I said, I know it wasn't your fault, but right now, you're all I've got, and I don't want to take your VCR. So what I'd like you to do is just give me his phone number. I'd like to have a chat. Look, looking back, I'm sorry about that. I wasn't fully formed yet. At the time, and don't forget, I'm literally hungry at this point. Anyways, I did get it. I left with the upper echelon's name and number, and I knew that it'd be enough to climb up to the next rung. But before that, I was going to wait 3 days. Because you just know he was going to get a call. Dude, some crazy fucker just showed up at my house and he wants his money. And yeah, he's actually going to give you a ring. I'm sorry. So I figured the situation would evolve a little on its own, and it wasn't bad to give him a little time to simmer on it. Well, what do you know? I soon got a phone call, and hey, it was the very guy. Amazing. Pat, look, I know, it's terrible. So sorry, I had no idea. Yeah, okay, cool. Hey, guy, I don't have nothing against you, but as I may have mentioned before, I do want my money. At this point, I'm guessing he wasn't in the mood for a one-on-one at his house, so he offers that I should come down and talk with him someday before work at this job he had. So where was he working? Club Metropolis. That was a big-ass bar in the heart of the interesting part of the city. Okay, great. I didn't even care that he was bringing me down to his place of work, a bar, with a crew of bouncers that know him, maybe like him. But this was just the first salvo, and I really only wanted to talk, and I had some, let's say, confidence. So whatever, I just went down there, and I was like, what do you got for me? And he said, I know, I can't fix this situation, but what I can do is maybe I could put in a word and you can come and make some brand new monies right here. What do you think? And that is how I got my very first job in a bar. Let me tell you, Club Metropolis, 3 stories, big back in the day, pretty hopping. So I never did fill in a form, and I didn't even try to go through the bureaucratic hoops to beg for what I was owed. That would have been frustrating, cost me time, and likely been more humiliating than fruitful. But in that Metropolis job, where they would actually give you a cut of the sales at the end of the night, I made a ton of money. Well, a ton for a 19-year-old me. More than I'd make in a week, much more sometimes, on a single night. And it was the beginning of a whole new path working in bars where I had the time of my life and made some cash along the way. What a blast. The moral of the story here, to me, it's this. And I'll let Marcus phrase it because he does it so well. The mind adapts and converts to its own purposes the obstacle to our acting. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Now, the voice of that quote, I think, shouldn't be read as passive. The impediment advances action. Yeah, but you waiting for something external to advance anything, of course, that's not the thing. The obstacle doesn't open the door for you. It's just the signal from the universe, the thing that prompts you to start thinking outside the box and puts a fat arrow right at what you should be looking at. Am I saying go out threatening to take people's VCR? The world is a different place now, but look, you're a grown-up, call it an exercise for the reader and figure it out. But whatever you do, when something is in your way, stop for a second, think how you might use it or flip it or prod it, then start acting, sending out a bit of stimuli, providing input to the universe, and listening real closely for how it responds. Things will likely not go quite as you expect. Just roll with it and it'll all work out. That's it. Keep on trucking. I'll see you later.